coming to Tokyo since my 20s, and this actually marks my 10th visit to Japan's capital city. Somehow, it felt so familiar, yet also so new at the same time. I felt like once I stepped into the streets of Tokyo and walking around the vicinity, I immediately knew where to turn, what to do, what to order, and I love that there are just some things that make me feel like me. This trip felt significantly different. I didn't feel the need to chase everything. As an introvert, I get overwhelmed very easily, and I allowed myself to create an itinerary that would really satisfy more of what I hope to get out of this city, which I think in hindsight was some clarity and some time away, as this 2025 was really like a hard hit on the head with everything I had to do, from admin work, renewing my permit in Berlin, and finding an apartment, eventually moving to one, working on multiple projects at a time. I decided to just retreat back to Asia for a couple of weeks to be with family and also to take this trip for my own sanity. Of course, with that sanity came a lot of stationery shopping, well, mostly window shopping. And as someone who now works in the journaling and stationery industry, it just feels so much of a full circle moment. In a way, part of this trip became an avenue for me to do research, to reflect on the industry, look at stationery, of course, take notes, and observe what trends are here. And I just love to geek out on these things. It makes me really, really grateful that I actually work in this industry and I enjoy it so, so much. Good morning. Halfway through the trip, running on 2 hours of sleep because of a really, really strong coffee float that I had yesterday afternoon. But we're going to Nikko today. Looking at things overwhelmed me so much that I'm so glad I decided to take a break and have a little day trip. I went to Nikko, and initially the plans weren't really set in stone, and I had like a 2 hour delay, but it was fine. I had the remaining afternoon to explore this quaint little city, and it took me 2 hours to get here. I loved walking around. I decided, might as well walk around instead of taking the bus, which became more of a leg day. It gave me just the right amount of time to think and to reflect, and also chance upon this visitor center that I saw had like maybe 10 different stamps. So I gladly took my time and stamped away. This is all so new to me because usually I would be that person who is always in her head all the time, telling her to do better, be on time, do this, do that. But I let those thoughts stay quiet throughout this trip, and for good reason. From Tobu Nikko Station, I just turned right and I found myself walking along the Shinkyo Bridge area and headed up to the Nikko National Park. It has a lot of different shrines, and I knew I wouldn't hit all of them in one day, and I do not want to be ambitious with the limited time that I had. And this was truly an exercise in just listening to my own intuition and what I really wanted to do. Eventually, I made my way up. It was a pretty high elevation, apparently as high as the Tokyo Sky Tree, which shocked me, but also I could feel my legs trembling once I reached the top. Visited the Toshogu Shrine and also just walked around the area on my way down, which I think was the more enjoyable part of it because I chanced upon this mini waterfall, and on the pond you will see some koi fish and the lovely juxtaposition of the autumn leaves just there. my favorite gardens because it's so calm, super quiet, very underrated, but look how gorgeous it is. I booked my hotel next to the Kiyosumi Gardens, and this is more of in the east of Tokyo. I did not regret a single thing because of the calmness I felt while I was in this particular area. It was pretty well connected. I love getting to walk around here. It's my second time in this garden, and somehow it reminds me of the film Perfect Days, which also inspired me to navigate this trip a little more intentionally and slower than my usual pace in my daily life. Still amazes me how 150 yen can cost you mental health, peace, and I always feel calm when I'm here. So I think it's the energy of this place. Like, amongst all parks, I really love this one. Definitely want to come back tomorrow and journal a bit or paint because the view is just I made my way to Nakameguro, one of my favorite neighborhoods, for obvious reasons that the Traveler's Factory flagship store is located here. I did a lot of shopping. I mean, who wouldn't? This is literally the mothership. After an afternoon there, I also did a lot more shopping in Ginza and mostly getting essentials that I needed for non-stationary things. But of course, I made my way to Tobichi, which is the flagship store of Hobonichi. I can't wait to tour you around some of the shops that I went to in a future video, but I also managed to check out a couple more shops in the Jumbocho neighborhood. I chanced upon this store that was recommended to me called Bumpodo. Super, super lovely. And I ended the last day of my trip actually at the Blue Bottle flagship store where I wrote postcards and had a lovely, lovely cup of drip coffee. Afterwards, I needed to conserve energy, and before you know it, I was on the train ready to head to Narita Airport and, of course, make my way back to Manila. When it came to documenting this trip, I knew I wanted to keep it as simple and compact as possible. I actually already worked on some of them while at the trip as I stamped away. I think my main rule of thumb was I would allocate one or two alternate pages for when I would stamp at a certain location, and then I would move to the next one depending on where I would be. I also told myself to not overthink every single layout that I had to do, considering this was a passport size traveler's notebook insert, which is something that I've been warming up to. I love how compact it is, and as you saw in the vlog, I brought this everywhere with me. It was always in my bag, so much so that I ended up buying one of those protective cases from To and Fro so that I can be sure that I don't stain it. I also made sure to just enjoy documenting and writing out all of the memories I wanted to remember at most. I think my main takeaway also from journaling about Japan is to just follow what feels right at the moment. You know, there's a lot of ephemera that I managed to scavenge and gather, whatever term you might call it. I also just mostly use the stamps as a visual guide for me to be able to document my trip and use it as the main visual. I really enjoyed weaving together photos, stationery, color-coded elements to put all the pages together. I also told myself to not print too many photos. I tried to keep it minimal. I think with documenting frequently and also journaling frequently, I've learned what works and doesn't work for me. And I think one thing that I will always do is write a lot. So the space allotted for writing has still been kept at a maximum so that I have enough space to yap on paper and be able to write about my trip in all its detail. Here is a full flip through of my completed Tokyo insert for this trip. Thank you so much for watching this Travel and Journal with Me episode, and I hope to see you on the next one. Always be creating. Bye!